we have spoken of the light before.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know that I've shared with you, but I'd like to share a couple of things from Sri Aurobindo
Sure.
on light, because it's so important to us to know this. He
Hmm.
writes, light is primarily a spiritual manifestation of the divine. Reality, illuminative and creative. Material light is a sub. I'm getting a lot of sound on your side.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like somebody's typing or clicking something. But it's
No.
I'm not hearing it now. It's okay.
Okay.
So first of all, he says light is primarily a spiritual manifestation of the divine reality, illuminative and creative. Now, material life, let's say, there's that sound again. What is this? Okay. Material life is a subsequent representation or conversion of it into matter for the purposes of the material energy. So, this is so important because when we say that Mother is the light, the sun that kindles all the suns,
Hmm.
it's not the sun we're talking about, the sun of earth. It's the sun of the divine light.
Got it.
See,
Okay.
see the difference, yes. And that divine light is then transformed or converted into matter so that it can be in material energy.
Got it.
And
Okay.
then this quote that I will never forget. Light is primarily, no, sorry, our sense by its incapacity has invented darkness. In truth, there is only light. There is nothing but light. Only it is the power of light, either above or below our poor human vision's limited range. And then he says this most important thing, which reverberates back to the previous quote. For do not imagine that light is created by the suns. The suns are only physical concentrations of light, but the splendor they concentrate for us is self born and everywhere. God is everywhere, and wherever God is, there is light.
Wow.
Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, so wonderful. So we have, we're going to start with this grand surrender, is his free will's gift. So
Yeah.
The Ishvara is giving a free will gift to the Supreme Creatrix. His pure transcendent force submits to hers. We see how they two are, and you really know that in the life of Sri Aurobindo and Mother, if you read their works.
Mhm.
He surrenders. He's always quiet. The only thing that I remember Sri Aurobindo doing was quoting to Mother every morning what he wrote in Savitri during the night. And Mother says, it was exactly my experience that he
Yes, you
wrote.
told me.
Yeah. So his pure transcendent force, pure transcendent and force submits to hers. And then we have to take a look at the last two lines
Yeah.
before the next. In the mystery of her cosmic ignorance,
In
what
the
is
mesh.
this?
Uh-huh.
What is this cosmic ignorance of the divine creatrix? Well, when the divine mother comes down into earth, she comes as nature,
Mm.
and nature has a cosmic ignorance. She's not totally divine. She's from the divine, but she has a cosmic ignorance.
Mhm.
And then he says, in the insoluble riddle of her play. Well, you can't solve that riddle of the divine play unless, I would say, unless you have reached a much higher realization that allows you to see with different eyes the play of the divine and his Shakti.
Mhm.
So next we go, a creature made of perishable stuff. In the pattern she has set for him, he moves. He thinks with her thoughts, with her trouble his bosom heaves. He seems the thing that she would have him seem. He is whatever her artist will can make. So this is the divine Purushottama submitting himself completely to the supreme creatrix. And it's so beautiful, huh?
Yes.
Because they're on earth and the play is here on earth. If the divine didn't want to see himself clearer, he would never have built the earth. Because
Right.
the earth is built from above the supermind and comes through the supermind, and that's how we get creation.
Mhm.
So, although she drives him on her fancy's roads, I play with him as her child or slave to freedom and the eternal's mastery, and immortality stand above the world. She moves her seeming puppet of an hour. Look at that word seeming, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Sri Aurobindo is not telling us that he's really a puppet. He's only a seeming puppet. And then just above that, those lines,
Mm.
um, even though she drives him on her fancy's roads. See, fancy's roads are her experiments.
Mhm.
She doesn't like this creation, she dissolves it. She
Right.
destroys it, and she builds a new creation. But she is at play
Mhm.
with the divine Purushottama, as with her child or slave. And where is it going? It's going to freedom and the eternal's mastery. Now, Sri Aurobindo has a couple things about the eternal that are not very long, but very, very important. He says in Essays in Philosophy and Yoga,
Mhm.
that which is cannot perish. It can only lose itself. All is eternal in the eternal spirit. And in Life Divine, he tells us each, that means each one of us, is the whole eternal concealed. Amazing, huh?
Yes.
We're all eternal concealed. And then he says in the Life Divine again, the eternal is our refuge. All the rest are false values, the ignorance and its mazes, a self bewilderment of the soul in phenomenal nature. And that self bewilderment is because we too had to go from those high realms where our psychic being was taking rest and come down into a human being, a baby at that.
Mhm.
And there is a self bewilderment at first. Um, I'm not the person I was when I was 5 or 6 years old. Neither are you. So we all have this kind of self bewilderment.
Mhm.
And, and that self bewilderment is something that we have to become free of. to freedom and the eternal's mastery.
Okay.
So, and immortality stand above the world, he says. And she moves her seeming puppet of an hour, even in his mortal session in a body's house. So it means the divine is in the human being,
Mhm.
in the human being's body's house.
Mhm. Yes.
So now we go on. And an aimless traveler between birth and death, ephemeral, dreaming of immortality, to reign she spurs him. And there's a period there. We don't often see a period in the middle of a
Yes.
line.
Yes.
So here we see that very clearly. He is an aimless traveler between birth and death. And why is he that aimless traveler? Well, because he wants to explore himself in this creation. So he doesn't have a particular aim, because if he had an aim, he'd make the human being immortal in a moment. The divine can do that. But he is an aimless traveler between birth and death. He is ephemeral. That means lasting only for a short time, transitory. So he's moving around, but he's dreaming of immortality in the human body. And then Sri Aurobindo says to reign, she spurs him. Well, she wants to push him into this creation towards perfection. Now, after the full stop, he takes up her powers. He has harnessed her to the yoke of her own law. So incredible. Now we see the reverse happening, where the divine is taking up the powers of the supreme creatrix. And he has even harnessed her. When we harness someone, if you harness horses, right?
Yep.
You have the control of them with that harness. So he has harnessed the Supreme Shakti to the yoke of her own law. And notice harnessed and yoke, two words that are very, very synonymous almost with each other. He's harnessing to the yoke of her own law. And that her own law is to create.
Okay.
To create in this earthly atmosphere. Sorry. His faith of human thought, and now he tells us very clearly, it's human thought. His faith of human thought puts on a crown. Now, we can see that so beautifully in Sri Aurobindo's photos. He appears to us godlike. Held in her leash, now he changes it again, held in her leash, bound to her veiled caprice, and the caprice is her whim, her fancy.